Hello and welcome to a video that's hopefully going to get a lot of views because I really want to keep doing these community events. So basically, if you hadn't heard, although I'm sure most of you have, 3 days ago I asked if to get your Disventure Camp hot takes. I said I'd return to this post on Tuesday, November 25th, and record a video reacting to your spiciest takes as well as sharing some of my own. So, I actually tried to record this a few hours ago, but I was going to have face cam, and the face cam was making it crash. So, hopefully it doesn't crash now, or else I will crash out. So, yeah. I guess we'll just get into it, because we have 84 comments to go through, and some people just put one thing, some people put 25. So, yeah, I'll save mine for the end. So we have Yule is such a good character, not morally, but his writing is top-notch, and his VA is literally peak. Okay, yeah, I agree. I love his voice actor. Great design as well. And his writing is great in both seasons. I know there is some iffy writing in All Stars. I don't think that applies to Yule at all. He's one of the funniest characters in the entire show. And as of when I was just ranking the beta, Yule was my favorite character in the Gen 2 cast. Honestly, he might still be as of right now, but that might change after the remake and especially after Season 5. Then we have by Logan is the best. OMG, Logan is the best. Yeah, no, I'm going to disagree. Logan is one of my least favorite characters in this show, and he really wouldn't even be that bad if he didn't win, because it just feels so undeserved, but I'm sure we're going to talk a lot more about that. Marissa's rejoin wasn't a waste, and everything with Anastasia's arc was peak. She deserved to win the season, or at least be a finalist. So, first, Marissa's rejoin not being a waste, I agree, because we got that fire tiebreaker elimination with Isabel, and so that was amazing, but... with the immunity idol and then pairing them against each other is freaking beautiful. But with everything in her arc being peak, I think everything in her arc is peak except for the brain dead move, which is the Zayd thing. I think that's the only problem with her arc. It kind of makes her regress a little bit. And as for her being a finalist, if we're talking about out of the 3 people, I would have loved to see her versus Jade, just because then Logan would have gotten 3rd. I mean, him getting bronze would be kind of funny, but I don't know if she deserved to be a finalist over everybody. Now, despite being 17th place, Ted is still my favorite character of the season. Even though he didn't get far, I love his vibes, motivation, gameplay, VA, design, and literally everything about him. He has so much wasted potential, but despite that, he's still my number 1 of the season. So here's what I'm going to say to that. I think that I agree with the good motivations, vibes, gameplay, VA, and design. Yeah, I agree with that. However, it's the same thing. He's basically the Disventure Camp version of Dawn, where there is so much potential there for a great storyline. For this time, instead of being a hero, he'd be a great villain, and it doesn't exist. So I can't really factor in potential. That much for me. I can definitely still see him being highly ranked though, based off vibes, but I don't see him being number 1 for me. Also, I want to look at these replies real quick. I don't know if this is a hot take with Yule being a good character. It includes All Stars. It's a hot take. Yeah, him being an asshole for 13 episodes got old. Season 2 did it for the right amount of time. I don't think it got old. I think him just getting getting you to more and more hate him, right, as a love to hate kind of character. I kind of see the appeal of that, and I was appealed by that. Despite the remake happening, I still think the beta of Season 2 is better overall than the official Season 1. So, no, I don't think so. I think I like both casts equally, at least right now I do. And I also think that just with the rigid animation and the not great mics and voice acting, especially with like James, for example, and I don't think the writing was as good. I'm gonna say no. I do think the remake is absolutely already better than Season 1, and I do love Season 1, by the way. So then we have, I think Tristan's elimination was perfect like public position. I can't come up with an arc for Tristan in this show. It's probably best if we got out early. So as for Tristan's elim, I think it was actually a great one as well. However, I do think Tristan will have an arc in Second Chance. But I do think, as well, Tristan's kind of already had an arc with Benji and the Vibe Tribe. Well, Benji's part of the Vibe Tribe outside of the game. But I think there's definitely more that can be done with Tristan. And I think that not only was it good for shock value, but it really established Spencer as being an actual competent player. And honestly, he's one of the most shocking, well-written eliminations in the entire show. As much as I love Tristan. Tristan is my second favorite character from that season. But then we move on to... I'll heart this one. I'll heart a few of them that I really, really agree with. Rhea's an S-tier character. Absolutely. Okay, maybe I'll just go through my hot takes as they come up. Rhea is goated. I think that Rhea wouldn't be goated if it weren't for the season 2 remake happening, but I can already see it. I'm looking into the future a little bit. I can already see that the Rhea plot villain term is going to be so much better in this timeline, in the canon timeline. So with her in All Stars, everyone hated her in All Stars. I love her in All Stars. And I love this character, y'all. This is, honestly, they have such good villains. I feel like that's something Disventure game's better than Total Drama at its villains. Obviously, Total Drama has Heather and Alejandro and Julia, which are all peak, but they also have, like, Sugar and Mal. While here, I don't really think they have a bad villain, in my opinion. And I'm just talking about, like, main villains, right? Like Alec and Gret and Yule. Well, I guess Yule's kind of secondary. Spencer and like Isabel, all these like more villainous characters are really well written, which is probably why I want to see so many villainous characters in season 5. But I really loved her win. I loved the lesson it taught, and I also loved seeing Jake just fail. Oh, he failed all season, and he failed. He had one big chance to prove himself, and he failed again. It was beautiful, and I love Rhea for that. I love Rhea's design, voice actor, all that as well. Just her arc with Connor is great. I agree, 100% S-tier character. Then we have Bridget. I'm your biggest fan. Logan is the most overhated character in Disventure Camp history. Yeah, I'm gonna disagree, although that actually is pretty interesting. Who do I believe is the most overhated? I think I'm gonna give it to Jade. Yeah, she doesn't have too much of a personality, which I understand, and I actually think is a very valid criticism. But people hate Jade, man, and I don't think she deserves it. I think that it's kind of interesting with the mystery, and I kind of hope she comes back someday, far from now. Very far from now, and like a second All Stars or something, I think would be the perfect place to bring her back, and that's when we can get a more personal look at Jade, and I think that's when people will start to understand why she was like this, and start to like Jade more. But I think right now she's the most overhated. As for you saying Logan is the most overhated, no, he deserves all that hate. Another candidate for that could be Rhea as well, and Allie. I like Drew more than half the other characters. What did your reply say? Take a guess who's my favorite. I have no clue, unless it is Drew, but you said more than half. Yeah, I don't really understand that. That doesn't really make sense to me. I mean, maybe you just dislike a lot of the other characters, because Drew has done one thing for this show, and that's figuring out Tom's identity. And outside of that, Drew has literally been the most insignificant character in this entire show. So, that's competed. So, he doesn't talk. I don't know how you could get attached to him. Maybe if he comes back in Second Chance, goes on a villain arc or something, I don't even know. I guess. Okay. I'm going to have to disagree with that, though. So then we have, yeah, and that's for taking a guess who's your favorite. I have no clue. So then we have Bumble. Rhea would not have had her villain arc if Connor didn't quit. Yeah, because she would have just gotten out. Rosa could have prevented Rhea from going farther into the villain role if she was in All Stars. Yeah, because she's Rosa. I don't think these are hot takes, dude. I think these are just facts. Rhea became a villain because of her circumstances. All these heroes trying to help her kind of hurt her. And I think that's part of the beauty of her villain arc. And kind of part of the reason why I'm kind of glad Rosa wasn't in Season 3 and why she's coming back in Season 5 instead. Now, as for, I loved everybody in Season 4 and I wanted them all to win, including Logan and Anna. I love Anna. I hate Logan. I think every single one could have been written in a way where I would have liked their win, except Diego and Logan. And maybe like Alicia as well, just because I don't see a arc. But I think every single merge contestant, except also Richard and Logan are the only merge contestants that would have been genuinely mad if they won. And the returnees, just because I think that it's kind of cheap for a returnee to win after not even being there for part of the season. Outside of that, every other merge contestant could have won except Logan. Yeah. So I disagree. As for Miriam showcased the best social game in Season 1. Out of just the Season 1 cast, yeah, I can see that. Her only vote cast against her was by Drew at the team swap vote in episode 1, and she didn't even receive a vote after that. I did not know that. That's crazy. She was in the majority every time she voted, besides F6 and F5. At Tom's Elim, she voted Fiore, and at Jake, she voted Alec, I think. But other than that, she flipped both Ellie and Fiore onto her side, manipulated Ellie for a second time, and managed to win the game. You know what? I actually agree with this. I wanted Ellie or Fiore to win over Miriam. I really, just because I wasn't as attached to Miriam as a lot of other people. But I think social game-wise, I'm looking at, she had including her manipulation with Fiore and Ellie, she had a good relationship with every single member of the Final Six, I think, except Alec. Yeah, no, I think that that's very true, and it definitely helps her arc of becoming a more open person. Let's see what the reply said. At Jake's vote, she voted Ellie. She also voted incorrectly at Dan's, though it was only because the idol was used. Otherwise, she would have been in majority. I don't think that really should count against her. On the second part, this is why I didn't point it out. Regardless of the idol, she was still majority. Yeah, I don't think that should really matter. I'll heart this comment. So then we have also again, like I don't think that's really a hot take, by the way. I think that's just facts. Just because a character you didn't like, you don't have to leave. Well, I'm assuming you meant didn't like one. You don't have to leave the fandom. Like the first draft of All Stars would have sucked if and those three were in the finale. I remember Ashley's the winner. I don't remember who the other two are, so I already disagreed with that part. And as for DC4, would you have preferred Isabel, Jade, Zade? Because that would make no sense. Okay, Zade making no sense, I agree with. Jade making no sense. It's her noble goals, and I think if she won, we would have, from a writing standpoint, seen her get more personal. Isabel making no sense. That's just bullshit. Isabel would definitely make sense. Not only does she have her goals, which aren't like as obvious as Jade's, but she still has them. Not only is she a very compelling character, which is a more opinionated thing, but she's also, from a strategic standpoint, definitely deserves it. And she's been through a lot of arcs throughout the season, everything from the Wicked thing to all her alliances. And overall, I definitely disagree with that. Although the one thing I will say I absolutely agree with is just because a character you didn't like won means you shouldn't leave the fandom. 100%. If that were the case, I would have left the fandom, right? Well, when Logan won. That being said, I was 100% ready to quit the show if Jake won All Stars. So I might be a little bit of a hypocrite. So I was like actually ready to drop the show if that happened. But then it didn't happen, and it made it so much more peak. Spencer could have made it further if he told everyone that Isabel had the totem. I mean, I'm trying to think. I guess maybe that's a good what if idea actually. But I don't think he'd make it too much farther. I think a big reason people like Jade so much is because they didn't like anyone else in the final three. Like, I think Jade is a good character, and I do like her, but she isn't as good a character as people make her out to be. If Jade got eliminated like 1 or 2 episodes before the finale, I'm almost certain that she'd be a lot less popular. Despite basically nothing about her changing in the finale compared to the episodes prior. And to that I say, you're right. You're absolutely correct. After Isabel was eliminated by some bullshit, I mean, it wasn't actually that much bullshit of an elimination, although it was definitely not a great play for Jade, who's supposed to be the character whose whole personality is her plays. I think that she didn't really do anything after that. So I think that she probably is that way. Because I thought Jade, I was thinking more game-wise, and after that Zade elimination, I was completely off the table for Anastasia winning. I still do like Anastasia, but I had completely been like, no, I don't want her to win after that bullshit. That was stupid. That was really, really stupid. Also because I was really hoping Logan got out there. She went and talked to Zade, and they made up, they realized, and then Amelie also is pressured in revealing it too, and then Logan gets out there. That would be peak. That would have been way better, but that didn't happen. And yeah, I don't know. What's next? Okay, yeah, I think that's correct because a lot of people disliked Anna. I didn't dislike Anna, but I think she shouldn't have won, and then Logan is Logan. Disventure camp is too dramatic. It can genuinely be shown later in the later half of season 4, and it kind of just drags down the season. That's why I like season 2 and season 1 so much, especially season 2. They don't try to be too dramatic, but they use drama in the right places to make it impact more. By the way, I think season 5 should go back to that season 1 and 2 type of vibe. I mean, yeah, kinda. I kinda see that. I think like. I saw another person say, I think it was Drama Theory on his channel, he said that every character has some big emotional backstory, and that kind of he said when everybody has an emotional backstory, it makes you hard to care about any of them. I don't really agree with that, but I can say that it is just a game show. Like, for example, Hannah getting genuinely depressed. I get from her life experience, I get that, but I feel like that was a little much. But I don't think it genuinely harms the season. And as for DC5, going back to that season 1 and 2 kind of vibe, I kind of would like it to be a mix of the season 2 vibe and the season 4 vibe, if you know what I mean. I think that would kind of work. But I feel like it's also going to end up feeling quite a bit like All Stars as well, mainly because of the theme. And I think that'd be cool. I also think it'd be nice if it did its own thing. But I'd say that I'm not sure how I feel about that. I kind of like half agree. Now, when we get to Ezra, oh my goodness, Ezra said, I don't think, we're about to get to the big one with Not Kez. I don't think any other character, aside from Zayd, had a justified reason to hate Spencer. Let's keep reading. I would hate someone as well if they talked all that crap about my family. A lot of the characters started to hate him just because it seemed like a trend at that point. I agree about that. They did hate him a little too much without hating Logan at all. For example, Hannah had absolutely no right to hate Spencer just because he was eliminating all their friends. I get why she could be spiteful, but yeah, hating, yeah, I see that. That's just how the game works. As for Natalia, I don't even remember her reason for disliking him. It's probably because he gave off bad vibes or something like that, which isn't a good excuse without actual evidence. Yeah, and she like actually hated his ass. I think it's just because Natalia's personality type, she's kind of a bitch, just in general, which is part of the appeal of her character, and it also makes some people not like her. I'm kind of in the middle on that. I also thought that Logan was so annoying for the few episodes he decided to stop being friends with Spencer. He forgave Natalia, who did the exact same thing, but was mad at Spencer for contributing to Richard's vote. There's so much more I could say, but I fear I'm yapping too much. Trust me or not. I think you could tell I liked Spencer, but I don't know. There's a few one I don't actually care. 3:50 in the morning. Damn. Okay, so I'm gonna say I actually agree with that. I'm not gonna get into specifics and all that because honestly, I've already been yapping for 20 minutes and we're probably not even halfway yet. But I do think that it did start to become a trend. Like everyone hated Spencer in kind of an unjustified way. So yeah, I'll say I definitely agree with that. And now we get to the behemoth. Oh my gosh, this is why I said you weren't yapping too much, bro. All right, Notcaz, let's do this. Speed round. Zayd is worse than Ali in both of her seasons. Zayd is only liked because of him being in the Vibe Tribe, but this is where Zayd is shown to have some potential, but then Tristan and Ivy are both early boots, kinda Ivy, leaving Zayd to float into the background. This is where I like Ali more. I just like Ashley for being a therapist because, what else does Ashley do apart from being the therapist? She was kind of forced to be that with those two brats fighting each other all the time, Ali and Jade. Also, I understand what Ali is going through, and at least she has a few good lines. Obviously, thank you, I'm going there. And come on, guys, you have to, or you can have your Yowie moment later. Yep, I remember both of those. I also think Hunt Ali is better than Hunt Tess. I think they're equal, but I think that I like that more so that Tess isn't in a relationship because I like her more when she's not. Now, as for Zayd being worse than Ali, I agree. I actually like Ali because I was on her side for the entirety of All Stars, and I like her a lot in Season 2 with her backstory, with her grandpa and all that. I'm excited to see that in the remake. And as for Zayd, I agree with all your points on Zayd as well. Then the fans versus favorites is a bad idea because it wastes so much potential from the Carnival of Chaos cast. I disagree because I think you're either going all, none, or like 4 characters, which is what they ended up doing. Because I didn't really want them to do a full rematch. I did a what if for that I think turned out pretty cool, but I didn't want them to do that because we just spent a year with these characters. None I also didn't really want because then it would feel like we're forgetting about some of these characters. But I feel like bringing 4 of them back is good because that still keeps this cast fresh on our mind. And I think that we're going to slowly see almost every character return because Second Chance is going to happen. And then All Stars 2 is going to happen. Second Chance will get all of the pre-merges pretty much, if not every single one. And for the next All Stars, whether it's All Stars 2 or Mega All Stars or whatever, that's where we'll see like Jade again, Isabel again, stuff like that. And overall, I'm going to say that I disagree with that take. Drew is not appreciated enough. Why is there so many Drew defenders here? He's perfect to the story, and he does what is needed from him. Yeah, but that's not much. He's also such a little guy. This also sounds dumb, but I like his orange sweater. Okay. I'm going to disagree with that. He's a plot device. The remake, Season 2, is full of peak from the eliminations, the plot lines, the animation, the voice actors, and so much more. That's not a hot take. Everyone agrees on that, pretty much. Number 5, Season 1 is the perfect cast. If you take out any of the DC1 characters, you're suddenly not able to achieve the same awesomeness. See, I would agree with that, except for the fact that Jake exists, and he's the worst character in the entirety of fiction. Now for a really big hot take, this was supposed to be a seed round, so thank you, Notcaz. Now for, okay, so the final 3 of Carnival of Chaos is just not it, and here's why. Logan, get used to for clickbait thumbnails. Yep, that's a huge topic. I might make a whole video on clickbait thumbnails. I hate when there's kisses in thumbnails. I really do, or anything of that nature. Nonstop flips, Justin put on a sad face, just like Rhea. And even more like Rhea, Logan gets rewarded with the money and a girlfriend, Hannah, which is implied, just because he is one of Jared's favorites. Over Stasia, there's a reason that she has earned this name. I've never heard that before. Not only does she overstay her welcome in most merge eliminations, she has a brain dead play like portraying Zayd. Yep, I talked about that. Just to believe Logan, who she should pick up on his flipping and at least ask more questions and not turn off your brain from just a couple words. I want to expand on both of these real quick before we go on to Jade. Logan, with the whole getting the girlfriend of Hannah, kind of just made the entire finding himself plotline really, really dumb. Which I get, he's bi, not just straight up gay, but like you just decided to make Spencer's character worse. I was already starting to get over Logan, but you just decided to make Spencer's character worse for literally nothing at this point. Because he doesn't even get with a dude in the end, which is fine, but it's like that's just annoying. Mainly because I like Spencer so much. And as for the Anastasia thing, what even more made me not want to win this was her forgiving Logan, but not forgiving Jade that quickly. Like that's bullshit. Finally, Jade. I don't like Jade. To me, she's only loved by the fans that are strategic. Yeah, that's me. And because the last two competitors are Logan and Anastasia, making people side with her, yeah. By default, I think the best thing about Jade's characters are interactions with popular characters that I can get behind Spencer, Isabel, and Benji. But that's mainly good for the other characters with majority of the time to wrap this up. I don't find Jade entertaining, which I think is I just see her as a robot. I think that's a fine opinion to have, but I still like her. But probably all those reasons you just said are part of that, so I'm going to agree with all of that. Number 7, All-Stars cast is too big. And a third of the season of the third season of the show should never be called All Stars due to everyone only ever competing once in the past. 19 of the 28 people are All Stars. This is not an All Stars. This is an All Season. Why not call it something cool like Clash of the Casts? Basically, All Stars is a disappointment. I disagree with this last part, but I do agree that there should have been at least 1 or 2 more casts, maybe like a fans versus favorites kind of thing. Bring some people back. Before we have a All Stars. That's kind of dumb. It should not have been named All Stars. Even Trevor's voice actor, Silly Billy, said that in his review. The fact that only half of our winners are liked is not good. More of a reason to like Miriam and James. I like Rhea, but I do understand that. I still like Miriam, just not. I feel like Ellie and Fiore would have been better. And as for James, I agree. Although I probably personally would have picked Aiden, but I do like him. But overall, I will say that, yeah, that's why Jared needs to listen to the fans. Odd Nation needs to listen to the fans. So then we have, I don't think this is a hot take, by the way. Speaking of Miriam, her fake death is perfect. Like, what else do you want her to do when she's like 76? Also, people don't think about how justified it is considering what Ellie did to Tom and Jake, who in season 1 weren't that bad. She is Ellie, but actually loyal. I agree with this. It was a very good move. It was very smart. And if I was in her position, I would have done the same thing. I just stole number 12, so I hate you now. I'm just kidding. So James and Yule are one of the best duos in the show. James can see where Yule is and tries to help him become a better person, but and be what Rosa was to him. Yet Odd Nation had to give what Yule had to Rhea, who flipped it up. I think I know what you mean. We're about to see this next Saturday, and I agree they are a pretty fun duo, and it ends with the whole poisoning and all that. That was great. Here's a compliment to Odd Nation. They can learn when to not screw something up. They could have had Isha in DC4, which I'm assuming is Rhea's sister, I think, but thankfully not. But what could have been easier to put Aisha in fans versus favorites. I know Logan just won, but we need at least one compliment, Odd Nation, for getting something right. Yeah, exactly. Like, I still love this show. It just has its problems, and I'm going to point them out as someone who loves it so much because I genuinely care and want to see this show succeed. As for Isha, we definitely need her in a Blood versus Water season, which also is the only type of season I think Rhea could ever realistically return in, because I think Rhea is just not someone who people will ever want to see return. Including myself, kind of, unless it's in that context, and then she'd still be an early boot. Trinji's a bit overrated, but unfortunately... they unfortunately don't have enough screen time. Because they don't have screen time, they have, and I absolutely hate saying that. I mean, yeah, that's kind of why I feel like Tristan should have been in this season, this next season, Fans vs. Favorites, and why I feel like, if not, Benji shouldn't have been here, and then should have came back in Second Chance, because I want to see them happy. 13, I'm not going to finish this, because my recordings can only last 30 minutes max, we've been going for 28, so I'm going to have to do, this is not a speed round, bro. Why not Kiss? Why in All-Stars are we meant to care about the host plot? Like, why does Trevor even like Derek? Like, Emily is right there, dude. I agree with that. Yeah, I feel like that was just to pull another pride parade out of their butts because it's Odd Nation, which honestly, I don't really care about the gay stuff, honestly. I mean, there's some of my favorite ships in the show are Tristan and Benji, Gabby and Ellie, Anastasia and Marissa, even though Marissa just kind of turns into her girlfriend. I love it. But I feel like they kind of sometimes, same with the Logan plotline, they kind of just make people gay to make them gay sometimes, and it kind of harms their character because not every character needs to be in love. And that doesn't even just go for the gay ships. It's just normally those where not every character needs to be in love. But anyways, so when Trevor does, I don't think he should have gotten, just to make that clear, right? I don't want that to come out wrong. I don't think he should have gotten with Emily either. I wouldn't have liked that either. So when Trevor sees Derek and Crystal kiss, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Why are we meant to care? I agree with all of this. They would still be here if not for Emily, because she is the one who offered the money to release them. Yes, I know technically Crystal did it because of the money. Still, my point stands. Why, Trevor? Why? I agree with this take. Just because we really shouldn't care. It was eating up way too much time in the show. It really was, and it made a lot of the other plot lines feel a little rushed, in my opinion. A lot of the better plot lines of the season, and yeah, what I just said earlier, along with I don't care. You're the host. It's like if Chris McClain and Chef had a huge plot line, that would be annoying. However, I think they still can have plot lines. Like, for example, in Action, Chris and Chef have the plot line of slowly growing apart, and then they make up in the finale, right? But you barely see that. I also think if they're written really well, then it can work. Like, for example, in Season 4. In Season 4, it happens, the stuff between Derek, Trevor, and Emily, but it is very subtle. The only episode where it really matters is Redemption Island's episode, and that's different because that's not a game show episode. So I think I do 100% agree with this take. The 4 favorites of DC5 don't work because we have Spencer, who's understandable, but then we have Benji and only Natalia, which is half of each duo, and we can't bring back Alicio because he's the first boo. I don't agree because we can't just bring back everybody. There needs to be an equal amount. So I think we should have Spencer, Benji, Tristan, and Isabel. Probably not the most controversial takes. Okay, wait, never mind. Actually, I do agree because this would literally be the dream. Because then we get Trinji, we get Issa Girl, and we get Spencer. I actually think this would be the dream 4, but I don't agree that it doesn't work with it just being 4 favorites in the fans versus favorite season. Marissa is a good returnee because of the idol play. Yes, I agree, but that's the only thing she's good for, and that helps Isabel more than it helps her. The animation should never get hate, never. Absolutely. Odd Nation should make DC6 a 13 to 18 episode season. Maybe not a second chance, but definitely a smaller cast, and I think DC works better with the 13 episode format. I disagree with that it works better, but I think it would be nice to have a concise, smaller season that would be probably second chance. Yeah, I could see an 18 episode, maybe 20 episode season for a second chance. I would love to see that, which would also have some of the fans as well. Alicio is one of the best Disventure Camp arcs and is proof that the predictable route is not always boring and bland. I also find his arc incredibly funny. How SM1, wait, what is that? I don't know what that means. Who shall not be named, sped ran his arc. I'm assuming you're talking about Logan. I don't think he has one of the best, but I think his arc is good, and I also agree that the predictable route isn't always the boring and bland one. Number 19, I think that it's good how the DCAS winners are in the bottom 3. Wait, what? Oh, you mean like Miriam and James are in the bottom 3, and how we have no previous winners in Disventure Camp 5. This is good because we know they won't win again, so they are filler, but also necessary and for All-Stars because it's All-Stars and not fans versus favorites. I 100% agree with that. However, I still wish that Jake got out first boot because then I wouldn't have to deal with him all season. But then again, it does help seeing the ending be so much more satisfying seeing him fail. So then we have Alicio's nicknames for Ted, Tedward, Tedbert, Teddington, etc. are peak. Oh, I don't even remember that. I don't like Gabby's "You Vote Me Out." I don't know what you're talking about. That might just be me being retarded, though. I don't think you can say that word on YouTube, but I just use it every day, so that's my bad. Spencer and Benji went out in the perfect time in their debut season. I think Spencer could have made it a little farther. I definitely agree with Benji, though. He would have gotten old, especially without Tristan, and I think it was the perfect time to get him out so that he can interact with Tristan more. 23, I don't like how in favor Disventure Camp is to girls. In Disventure Camp 4, the final 10 is 7 girls and 3 boys. Also, All-Stars and fans versus favorites, both favor the girls. And also the final 3 in DC1. And in the beta, there was always more girls. It even got to the point where we had 6 girls get eliminated in a row to let Jared's favorite win. Yeah, we're talking about DC4 right there. And I think that I agree with this, but also I'm not the best person to respond to this, considering my Total Drama Multiverse series tends to favor girls as well. Just because I feel like they're more interesting to write, at least the girls that I put in there. But I do agree that we need to have the men be a little more in the front lines and make it a little farther in this next season. That being said, I still wish any of those 6 girls won instead of freaking Logan. I think Emily will have a breakdown in DC5. This is not a hot take. This is just a theory. And we will see Trevor again to help her, and it will give Emily some derailment and will make her fall under the same things as other hosts. I also would love to just see her be a host. She's already had her arc over season 3 and 4. I feel like it's done. Just make her be a host. I like Diego. I think the worst thing that Diego ever does is try to kiss Spencer in episode 5, and some prior creepy things. I like how he tries to help his team and not be lazy by getting the team to do yoga. My bad. He also has an unimaginably awesome bond with Hannah, to the point where he even says in confessional Hannah doesn't deserve to go. So he does the thoughtful and responsible thing and tries to convince Spencer to do the final 4-pack with him, Jade, Hannah, and himself. Which honestly I believe Spencer should have done. You forgot to capitalize that. No, I'm just kidding. I don't care. Because the other 3 are so tight. I like Diego, which is sadly a hot take. I just don't like the creepy stuff. I think that if that was toned down, I would like Diego, though. And I think that I give a little too much flack sometimes. I think Carol and Maggie should have gotten to sing in the remake. Go listen to On My Way and I Don't Care from I'm assuming that's a voice actor. On My Way is the one with Natalia, Anastasia, Linda, and Marissa, I think. And I Don't Care is Tristan's. I love I Don't Care. And On My Way was all right. So if you were one of the main singers there, then I definitely agree. But maybe second chance. Thank you to everyone who has read this. I really hope this gets into the video. And subscribe to MegaBoy37TD. Now that is no hot take. Also there was 26 takes. So we have made it through the big chunk. The thumbnail, pretty much. I'm putting that on the thumbnail. Thank you so much, Notkez, and thank you everybody who has submitted their takes. This is awesome. I love this. Oh, hashtag's been on the channel quite a bit recently. Ali is my favorite of the Poly Trio, and I don't mind her arc in All-Stars, though it could have used less petty arguments from Jake. I agree with that, although I still think that I like all 3 of them equally, but I definitely agree that I didn't like her, I didn't mind her arc in All-Stars, though, yeah, it could have used less, and I also think that she shouldn't be coming back and should be Tess, but I think they're doing that for early boot fodder. Tristan didn't do nearly enough and deserves to be, deserve to be the most popular character. I don't know why. I think I just clicked on these and liked them so that they wouldn't be notifications anymore. I'm not going to dislike, but I'm not going to like it either. I disagree because sometimes less is more. I mean, look at Logan. He definitely wasn't less, but he still sucks. And then look at Alicio. Actually, no, look at Ted. Ted's still a lot of people's favorite, so I disagree with that. Yule is the best character Disventure Camp has ever had. He's definitely top 10. I love him. He's hilarious. He's amazing. He's perfect. But he's not the best. Tristan is just... okay, how many do we got here? 4. Okay. Tristan is just a tad overrated. I like him, but I don't think should be considered the fan favorite, and Isabel to a lesser extent. These are literally the best 2 characters in the entire show. How dare you? I'm just kidding. But, okay. Ali being in events versus favorites makes perfect sense. Does it, though? Of the Gen 2 cast, she has the 2nd highest number of greetings. I did not know that. And given the in-universe audience's standards, it's reasonable obsession that she somehow gained their favor. And even if it's more of a staff favorite than a fan favorite, Emily clearly loved her drama, and seeing her and Jake Beef probably made her think there'd be more of that if she came back. I still disagree, because I feel like her whole arc of, oh, everybody hates me, in All-Stars, kind of, like, that feels kind of dumb. Beta only, but Maggie is worse than Rhea. I mean, yeah, Maggie sucked in the beta. Nobody cares about beta Maggie. Maggie has almost nothing going on. Yep, after all, people make their channels on playing bad games, but nobody... Oh, that's actually kind of a W line. After all, people make their channels on playing bad games, but no one does the same thing for forgettable nothing burgers, right? Yo, that's actually fire. Then again, you're also saying Rhea's bad, which I disagree with, but yeah. Jake. Just Jake. I can tell your blood's already boiling. Yo, I didn't even read the second part, and I already was pissed when I read Jake. Yeah, you're right. You know what? You get the heart just for that. I definitely disagree with your first take, and I disagree with your second take, and I don't even think this is really a hot take, number 3. But yeah, no, I hate everything about him. He sucks. Thank you for making this joke. Although that actually might mean that you're saying you like Jake, in that way. Oof. All right, let's move on. He's right. My blood's boiling, or he, she, whatever. Alec being voted off in Season 1, Episode 9 would have prevented the Tom and Jake from breaking up. Yeah, but Tom and Jake breaking up is good, because we get to see Jake be sad. Also, that's still not a hot take. Yule should... Oh, my goodness. Yule should have been an anti-hero of sorts. He should have been an asshole. That's not how you spell that. Wait, actually, is it? I don't know. But more mellowed out and be in a happy relationship with Gret. He's funny. He was actually smart in season 2. He can be social and he's chill, and him winning All Stars would have been satisfying. He technically did win part of All Stars though, because he got some of the prize money. Yul should have been what James should be, had been that season. I don't know what you're talking about, because he's actually an interesting character. He's a great entertaining character. Showcase him being extremely funny, but when he's not a jackass towards Gret, and he and Gret make a great couple. It would have been interesting to see him go on and win All-Stars while also being a villain, giving us a villain when that's more likable than Rhea's. So I actually don't think he should have been the anti-Rhea hero of All-Stars. However, I definitely like the idea of him coming back in a season, which will be his 3rd time, getting the first boo. Then coming back a 4th time, and then being the anti-hero. Because that will really help his arc of, like, actually trying to better himself, right? Because he's a terrible, disgusting, deplorable human being, and I think he deserves to be a first boot for that, which would also make for some great TV as well. But I don't think he should have been the anti-hero for season 3. I really liked him being just terrible and still making it as far as he did. And also that's another part I loved about the finale of season 3, is seeing him get part of the prize money when he was so mean. But I think that I do like the anti-hero Yule plotline. I just don't think it needs to be for a while. Maybe like an All-Stars 2. Forest Ranger from Tom Jake Season 1, Episode 4 is the best Disventure Camp character. I actually know who you're talking about because I recently watched Tom Jake Season 1. Yeah, I know, it sucked. Well, actually, it really didn't suck. It wasn't that bad. All the parts that didn't have Jake weren't that bad. Now, Season 2, Episode 1 was terrible. Even with Amelie. But anyways, yeah, no, Forest Ranger's fire. I love Forest Ranger. He's the best. He's better than Fiora, better than Isabel, better than everybody. Linda would have been a better fanservice favorite 3-tourney than Benji, since Benji's arc already ended in Season 4, and Linda had a much more interesting relationship with the rest of the returning class, especially the Season 4 ones. I 100% agree with this. Linda definitely is only not here because they're saving her for they're saving her for a second chance. But I agree that without Tristan, I don't really want Benji here as much as I like him, and I feel like that spot should have gone to Isagirl. I'm talking about Isabel, by the way, when I say that. Anastasia's overhated and a great character. Yes, she's paranoid and has anger issues, but she's a complex anti-hero with a heart of gold. I don't think she has a heart of gold at all, but I do agree that she's overhated and a great character. She definitely doesn't have a heart of gold. Let's see what the replies say. She has a heart of gold. She sabotaged the trauma of a man with PTSD from almost dying, which she did, which she never apologized for, and dislocated Ivy's shoulder, what she also didn't apologize for, and it's implied that Ivy isn't allowed to be mad about it, which is in episode 16. Yeah, see, she definitely doesn't have a heart of gold. She saved Logan, actually. The Ivy thing was an accident, and it was Zayden and Tristan who stopped Ivy from apologizing, not Anna. She cares deeply. Oh, wait, you actually got, like, receipts. Hold on, RPG Reality. She cares deeply, but doesn't know how to show it. Yeah, she definitely feels very real in that regard. Mega said to express... I've never been called Mega before. Said to express hot takes. I did. Mega never told you or anyone else to try to debate someone else's hot takes. Yeah, that's for me to do. I get to tell you all you're stupid. No, I'm just kidding. I am infinitely grateful for y'all sharing y'all's thoughts and supporting me. This prime example of grasping at straws and debating me about Anastasia proves my point. Yo, this is like some actual political debate right now. Walk in. Oh, when she comes back. Kara comes back. Hold on. Yes, she saved him, and that's part of the problem. Anastasia also blackmails Logan by reminding him, hold on, this is fire. I'm hearting all of this, by the way. Hold on. Boom, 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 boom. Oh my gosh, we're not even done yet. Yes, she saved him, and that's part of the problem. Anastasia also blackmails Logan by reminding him that she saved his life, which is an asshole move, I agree. Just because it was an accident doesn't mean she shouldn't apologize, and Tristan and Sage stopped Ivy from bringing it up because they knew Anna would get mad about it, which is true. I actually agree on this point. 3, which was she cares deeply but doesn't know how to show it. I actually agree on this point, but by the end of the season, she doesn't really learn anything about expressing her feelings, and she doesn't apologize to the people she hurts. Yep, I agree. That's probably a thing they're saving for season 5. 4, Mega didn't say we can't converse about our hot takes. That is true. I will say that is 100% true. I actually like this because this is giving me great content right now. I wasn't trying to be hateful or offending, and I was just trying to state my opinion. Believe it or not, I don't hate Anna. She's just extremely solid, or she's extremely solid early season. Then, oh my gosh, we're going in! She never blackmailed him. She was just telling Logan Jade didn't help. Tacky? Sure, but not blackmail. They assumed Anna would get mad. They didn't know for a fact. Technically, you don't either, though, RPG. Nobody does except the writers. Actually, I don't even know if the writers know what they're doing half the time. That's a half joke. She was solid all the way through. People just default to hating on her and Logan because the fandom's original targets of Vitriol got eliminated. I don't know what that means, by the way. Okay, so who won this debate? Kara or RPG? I think they both actually did some pretty good points. I'm going to say I agree with this. But the Heart of Gold line, no, I don't think she does. I don't think she does have a Heart of Gold. So, also, I did never, ever say that y'all can't debate. So, I love debate. I've always loved debate. And I'll never get on it here, but I love everything from debating shows, debating video games, to debating politics, which will never be on this channel, I promise you that, because that shit gets people killed everywhere. Anyways, I love this. This is great. I hope there's more of this, and I'm going to say I'm 50-50 on this. All-Stars Rhea... Oh, look, we might have more. All-Stars Rhea could have worked as a character if they toned down her cruelty and made her more smarter. Yeah, more smarter and strategic, and even then, that would work better if she wasn't a villain in Season 2, or give her a 2-season-long arc where she starts good, turns villain, returns a villain, and turns good. That isn't a hot take, it's a fact. True, but Disventure can't make her so unlikable that it might as well be a hot take. Oh wait, that's Kara again. I mean, like, yeah, I still like her as a villain, but yeah, I think that the community would like that more. I adore Kai, that's it. That's fair. I don't really care too much about him, but I can see the appeal. Despite Logan not being a good winner, Season 4 is still the best season by far. Yeah, I say it's All-Stars, but I know a lot of people think I'm retarded for that. Oh, crap, I said that word again. But I'm stupid for that. But I still think that it's... I mean, they're so close to me. I remember watching Season 1 on release, and the amount of hate that season was getting was crazy. Really, Episodes 6 and 12 especially. I feel like the only reason why Season 1 is so loved is just because the villains make it very far. Fiore and Alec were very entertaining, but their whole dynamic got ruined in Episode 12. I disagree. And how the merge cast is just a good versus bad dynamic makes the Elam order very predictable. Yeah, but also I think that it's Season 1, so it kind of needs to be a little bit like that. In contrary, Season 4 is full of characters that are more interesting and have better dynamics. Like, the merge is flawed. It's still way better than Season 1. There are some okay-ish episodes, but most are really good, like 3, 4, 6, 7, 11, 13, 16, 17, 19, 22, and 23. I'm not about to go look up all those, but I'm assuming they're good. I know some of them. In comparison, what are the really good episodes of Season 1? I loved the zombie one. I really loved the zombie episode. I can say that. There are some good moments in Episode 4, 5, 10, 12, and 13, but they didn't really stand out. So I'm actually going to 100% agree with all of this, except for Season 4 being the best season, but that's just because I have my crack take of... thinking All-Stars is the best season, which I still genuinely believe. But that might genuinely be the hate for Jake coming in for that. So I think this is good. I agree with it. I think it's an evolution. It's an evolution. Season 4 is an evolution of Season 1. Not just literally with like the art style and character design, voice acting, and amount of episodes, but also writing and character development and all that. So yeah. That's why I do believe that of the 4, Season 1 is, technically speaking, the worst season, as good as it is, even though it has the best character and some of the other best characters. So then Amelie winning would have been the best option out of the final 7. No, it would have been Isabel. Now, I think Amelie is a better, even though she's a returning, I think she's a better pick than Zayd. I think she's a better pick than Logan. I don't know. I think I'd put her equal with Anastasia. No, I think she's better win than Anastasia. I think she's equal with Hannah and Jade. Maybe Jade a little higher. And then better than Zayd. I think I already said that, though. And then Isabel is obviously the one that I think should have won. So I'm going to disagree there. Rhea and Ali are heavily underrated, along with the DC All-Stars cast as a whole. I wouldn't say underrated. I'd say overhated. That does also, like I said earlier, Ali... I was on her side all of Season 3 because I hate Jake. And for Rhea, we've talked about Rhea so much here, which makes sense. She's a very controversial character. I do think she's one of the most overhated characters in the show, though. Also, I want your stance on this. Ooh. Do you think Rhea or Logan deserve their win in the season more? Because for me, 100% Rhea. So Rhea, from a purely gameplay standpoint, I think that she does deserve it quite a bit. She definitely deserves it more than Jake and Ali. As for Logan, absolutely not. He does not deserve it. And yeah, I think I'm going to say Rhea does deserve her win from a moral and perspective, and kind of from a writing perspective, but mainly from a moral perspective. No, she doesn't. And Logan, kind of. But I'm going to say definitely like Rhea's more. Zayd and Marissa made it way too far in DC4 while doing literally nothing but being an extrovert, so I'm assuming you mean Anastasia, not Marissa again. Yeah, they should have both had more to themselves, and Marissa should have won that tiebreaker. All Stars is tied for the best season with DC4, and DC1 is way too overrated. People who say it's the best are just blinded by nostalgia. You know what? You know what? You're getting a heart, because not only do I agree with all of these, but that is literally what I've been saying. I can't decide between All Stars and 4. If Logan didn't win, 4 would be better, but I can't decide between those two. Season 2 is going to be better than Season 1. In Season 1, I don't have nostalgia for Season 1 at all. I only watched it, not last summer, but the summer before. So, yeah. And you know what? Yeah, I agree. That's definitely a good set of takes from One. Oh, I remember you. I also remember you, Cool of the Dude. So, and then we got Escape Keys take, which I've looked at a little early. We'll get to that. Holy shit. Okay. No, this video is going to be over an hour long. We're getting close to the end, though. If y'all can see my bar on the side, I don't know if y'all can. I don't think any of my takes are too hot, but the hottest ones I have is that Season 1 finale is not that good. I mean, the final two are Miriam and Fiore, which I think is kind of underwhelming. One, because they're barely interacted and have little chemistry outside of comedy. And 2, Miriam does nothing after her arc with Jake in, like, episode 4 until the final 4. She had her strategic game because she was, that other person convinced me that she was the best strategist of the Gen 1 cast. But outside of that, yeah. I know there were a lot of other characters. I wish you kind of separated this. Doing other things in those episodes, but this is your winner. Spare her some screen time. And then there's Fiore and Alec, who ended terribly in the season. And I can get Alec being upset after Fiore eliminates him and saying things he may not mean. But after seeing a 6-year-old get blown up and basically saying, you deserve this, it's something else entirely. Okay, yeah, no, I think that's also a little bit of a problem. They really treat her a little bit worse than she deserves because she is a literal 6-year-old, a literal child. Fiore also never makes up with Alec in this plot. Is taken into All Stars where it isn't even given any focus. Yeah, so I will say with that is definitely going to be a Season 5 thing. Tom and Jake's conclusion also felt weird. I know they're setting up All Stars, but leaving your defining couple off and a we will talk later is not satisfying. Yeah, but I mean, like, they also had Tom-Jake planned, for better or for worse, definitely for worse. But I do technically see that. Also, it made me happy because they weren't together, so Jake wasn't happy. And of course, the host plot was just underwhelming. Was there even? Oh, I guess Jensen, yeah. Jensen was built up the entire season just to throw some punches and attempt to steal the money. Pretty lame. If you ask me, if I could fix the finale, it would be a proper start a few episodes before, either not giving Miriam some more screen, or either not only giving Miriam some more screen time, but building her relationship with Ellie up, because I think Miriam-Ellie finale would work better than the original Miriam-Fiore finale. I mean, even in the original, Miriam and Ellie actually had some chemistry, being allies until Ellie betrayed Miriam's alliance, and their talk after revealed a lot about their characters. This would then make Miriam's fake heart attack have even more weight, as Ellie would be legitimately moments away from winning, only for her victory to be snatched. I agree with that, actually. It's more emotionally investing than the original Final 2 and sets up Ellie for her villain arc in All Stars. Kind of a villain arc. As for Alec and Fiore, I would have Fiore look guilty after Alec calls her a mistake in episode before the finale during the challenge, and have Alec be Fiore's helper. It's a regret. Alec wouldn't speak much to Fiore, but he would help her until Fiore's comeuppance comes caused by Ellie. Alec would be quick to comfort Fiore, and they would share a heart-to-heart about why Fiore did what she did, and how Alec never really meant all that. Their friendship salvaged, and they could build that father-daughter relationship in the next season, and then advance first favorites as well. As for Tom-Jake, the host plot, I don't have any good ideas at the moment. If I ever did make a rewrite, that'll be some of the ideas I'll have to come up with. So, all of that yapping to say, I agree. I agree with a lot of those changes, but I don't agree that, well, I guess I shouldn't say I don't agree. I feel like this episode, especially with this comment, I feel like Season 1's been a little too bashed, because I still love Season 1. I give Season 1 a solid 8 out of 10. But I do agree that all of these changes would be better, especially between Alec and Fiore, because Fiore gets way too much hate. I get she is a asshole, but she is still 6. Also, I would still change that Miriam doesn't get the win. And as for the host plotline, yeah, I think that it could have been done a lot better. But again, I think that's more of a writing evolution thing. And I would love to see more Jensen someday, especially after that Staff Stories episode. Okay, guys, so I just went to go check how many are left, because we're almost at the hour mark of this video. I might speed it up a little bit, or like cut some out. Actually, no, I don't want to cut people's out. We'll see. I thought about splitting it into 2 parts, but I didn't. But this Escape Keys is pretty much the last one. Oh, Tom Universe did a second set. Pretty much the last one that's actually, like, super long. So, yeah, now I read this one already, and I don't even know why I have it on liked, because, yeah, This one is a little crazy. So, Hannah was absolutely justified in ditching Amelie to beat Logan in episode 19. Amelie was literally knocked over, and Logan was running to the finish line. Amelie herself was saying, "You agreed that I would win the challenge." The crazy uppercase and lowercase is funny. And the audience commending Hannah for basically making a realistic choice just really shows a genuine problem with this community and how people are so overprotective of their favorite characters. Yeah, there is like an Amelie cult, more than so than Benji. Oh, was it because Amelie was all sad and shaken and that she could do no wrong? Boo-hoo! She was never gonna win the challenge. Shouldn't she be happy that Hannah won and not Logan? People are always so pissy when someone does something even remotely close and shows disdain for their character. Fury. Okay, so let's start right there, or let's stop right there. So far, everything that has been said by Escape Key, absolutely 100% agree. And it's not just Amelie. It's a lot of characters. I'd say the Jake fandom, the Jake part of the community, is a huge member of this problem, saying Jake can do no wrong, and Jake is the victim of everything. I agree. Now here's the problem. Fiore's fanbase, my favorite character. Especially, it's a prime example of this when any other character moves their mouth within a 20-foot radius of her. I despise that fanbase so much, I can't even put it into words. On that note, Fiore probably has the worst fanbase that isn't Jake, Ellie, Gabby, or Rhea. I actually like Ellie's, Gabby's, and Rhea's. And it somehow might even be worse because these rancid, no father figure present, greaseballs don't get called out because of how universally loved she is. I have a father figure. You know, I don't know. I don't even know what to say, bro. Like, this feels like an attack. I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna get all offended. I'm gonna heart your comment because of how funny it is, but also Fiore's fanbase. That's the one. I get you brought up Jake, but Fiore's fanbase, really, us. As for Ellie, Gabby, and Rhea, I understand Rhea, but Ellie and Gabby, I'm very surprised about. Kind of see Ellie's, but yeah, no, I definitely agree with the first half. I definitely disagree with the second half, but with all the the capital letters and stuff, it's just a really funny comment. And yeah, Aiden is the best. Aiden is kind of boring, to be honest, but I still like Aiden and wish he won season 2, even though he's not my favorite there. Anastasia should have been eliminated in episode 19 instead of Marissa. How many times have I said that already? Fiore is morally the worst contestant in the history of the show. Okay, I'm gonna predict what this reply says. Hey, so you remember when freaking Rhea almost killed Aiden? Like, I understand that he had the wingsuit on, but, like, that's a little different than when, for example, Jade didn't made Richard not help. Let's see if I'm right. Have you ever watched Disventure Camp All-Stars, Rhea, and how many people she nearly killed? Okay, I was kind of right. I don't really know what you're talking about when she killed multiple people. I genuinely don't remember what she's talking, or she's talking about there. But, yeah, definitely Rhea is the morally worst contestant. I would also say Alec, as much as I like him, is a morally terrible person. So, yeah, no, I'm definitely going to disagree there. Okay, let's see, how many did you get? Marissa is one of the best Disventure Camp 4 characters. Logan should have won the season, or at least gone far with writing adjustments. Wait, is this literally the same one as earlier? I think this might actually be the same comment. Like, genuinely. Hold on, I gotta find Tom Universe again. I think it was, like, one of the first ones. Tom Universe. Hold on. Hello? Wait, what? Oh, you know what I'm probably thinking? I'm probably thinking of earlier, because I've already responded to this comment earlier. Yeah, I did in the previous recording when I tried to record this with a fake, or with a face cam. Marissa is one of the best DC4 characters. Definitely disagree. She didn't do nearly enough to be considered that. And that's different than Tristan, because at least Tristan was really funny and had other good things going for him. Logan should have won the season, or at least gone far with writing adjustments. I disagree. I think that I see going far, maybe getting second place, but even with writing adjustments, he'd have to be a whole different character for him to deserve winning this season. A whole different backstory, a whole different everything. James did not get enough pushback for portraying Carol. That's BS. Have you not, unless you're talking about the beta. Maybe if you're talking about the beta, but Aiden and James hate each other right now, and overall, his only alliance member is Yule, and I'm just going to say I definitely disagree with that. Connor is way too old to even consider dating Rhea. So I actually looked this up earlier. Connor is 49 and Rhea had just turned 29 in season 2. And at first I was like, that's fine. But you gotta realize that means that Connor was 19, a legal adult who could vote and fight in wars when Rhea was born. so that's a little weird. That's a little weird. But as someone who has who is around a few different people who have bigger age gaps in my real life, I don't really see it as too big of a problem, but I can definitely understand that. Lil and Nick have too much of an age gap that they should not be shipped. I don't even know. I didn't even know they were shipped. Fiore is unlikable in season 1, but starts to get better in season 3. I disagree. I think Heather in... I'm just reiterating what I said earlier today, by the way. Fiore was unlikable in season 1. Think Heather in season 1 of Total Drama. Heather was quote-unquote unlikable, but everyone loves her because she's a love-to-hate. Same as Fiore is a love-to-hate character. Also, I feel a little bad for her. Especially this episode, or this video has made me feel bad for her. Just how much hate she gets from these grown adults. So I'm going to say no. And in season 3, I mean, she doesn't start to get better. She's just still peak. I understand why Tess did not end up with Hunter or Allie. Yeah, I've said this a few times. Tess didn't need to get with Hunter or Allie because I like Tess's arc where she just gets a bunch of good friends with Ellie, kind of Gabby, Hunter, and Allie. So I do agree with that. Disventure Camp Season 2 has the most replay value. I can already tell. I wouldn't say that for the beta, but for the remake, I can already tell that's going to be the case. DC2, oh wait, I just said that. Yule is not written so well in the beta. He's written about as well as everyone else in the beta is. I mean, like, yeah, which isn't that great. Winner choices. Number 1, Tom. No, should have been Ellie. Number 2, Hunter. I can see it. I personally think Aiden, though. Number 3, Gabby. Yeah, Gabby or Gret. Number 4, Logan. No, Isabel. Logan's literally one of the worst picks. Number 5, Rosa. I see her being one of the favorites that is most likely to win. I want it to be Fiore, obviously, but her or Lake, I think, are the biggest picks there. Maybe Spencer as well. I just hope a favorite does win, unless I get really, really, really attached to a few of the fans, which I do think I will, like Aura, for example, and Finn. Please do not pressure yourself into doing this. Trust me, you were not the biggest yapper here. I have way too many. Oh no, I thought we were done with these! Oh gosh! Pink Lemonade, let's get into this. The Elam order they went with in All-Stars is way better than the previous ones. Literally the only bad thing about it is Aiden gets too far. Kinda. James is the worst winner by far. No. I think he's better than Miriam, but I definitely think he's better than Logan. Maggie's not good in the Season 2 remake. She's better than what she was in the beta, but she's just okay. I disagree. She was actually literally the best her that she could possibly be. Which in turn makes her good. The Vibe Tribe comprises my entire bottom 4 of the Carnival of Chaos. Did I misread that? My entire bottom 4. They're not bad, they just tend to get annoying. What? I guess... maybe you don't like the humor of Benji and Tristan, and don't like Trinji, which already is crazy. Ivy? Some people weren't liking Ivy, and then some people didn't like Zay because he didn't do enough. Really? Your entire bottom 4 is the Vibe Tribe. Dude, the entire Vibe Tribe, actually except Zayd, is in my top 10 of the season. Ivy, Tristan, and Benji. Zayd isn't, though. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Marissa is super underappreciated. She's really funny. Is she, though? She complements Anastasia's character very well. Yeah, by being her freaking girlfriend and nothing more. And bouncing off other characters, well, like who? Maybe Diego in the motel episode. And having subtle, but very well done plotline about learning to play less softly, and learning that the military isn't right for her. Yeah, but that was like it. And that she needs to carve her own path in life. Yeah, could she have gotten more content away from Anastasia? Of course she could. But she's not the nothing burger Anastasia lapdog that everyone portrays her as. I don't disagree, but I definitely don't agree. None of the season 4 eliminations are poorly written. That's bull. That's just not true. I think there's only 2 that are really poorly written, and they actually come back to back. It's Zayd and Isabel's. That's probably the lowest point in the show for me. In the Disventure Camp 4 at least. All of them make complete sense from the character's perspective. Nope, definitely not. The closest they get to being not good is Amelie's second elimination. I disagree with that too. I thought that was good, but that's more so because I didn't know more so was it's one word. Actually, it might be a typo because it's too predictable rather than the fact that it doesn't make sense. I disagree. Disventure Camp does not need to take itself less seriously. Yeah, I agree with that. Rhea is by far the most overhated character in Disventure Camp history. Yeah, a lot of her criticism against her doesn't make sense. She shows guilt multiple times. She couldn't have done anything more due to the fact the whole season that she does what she does is because she needs to appear as a villain to the cameras, and she literally never attempted to murder anyone, and y'all don't know what the word attempted means. Yeah, like he still had his wingsuit on, and I guess I'm forgetting something about season 3. because I don't remember that. The beta seasons are generally so bad, I don't know why people try to act like they were good. I never even watched season 1, but I can assume that it's ass. And season 2, yeah, it wasn't that great either. Villain Ted would genuinely suck so much he fades way better as an anti-hero. I think he should be a second chance villain with a shorter season length. X characters should win because they need the money is a stupid argument. Also, Miriam literally needed the money, yet y'all complained when she won. So do you guys really even believe this? Oh, I didn't know people actually complained for that. I think, yeah, I think that's kind of fair, but I think that it just depends. Because if X character really needed the money and the winner did not need the money at all, cough cough Logan, then yeah, I can see that argument not working there, or that argument working there. Jade and Logan shouldn't be punished for playing the game as well as any others, but these two especially. Logan didn't play the game right, bro. He just freaking. Well, I guess he did. It worked. It shouldn't have worked. He played the game right, he played the game, and no one else decided to punish him for it. And I'm not just talking. Yeah, I don't agree with that. Well, I'm trying to think of any other. If you're just talking about strategic characters being strategic, shouldn't be punished for being strategic, then yeah, I agree with that. Disventure Camp needs more straight characters. No. All right, so I've always been a little weird about this topic, because it's a very sensitive topic, right? Here's my take on that. Actually, let's go through. Episode 19 is one of the worst episodes of All Stars. I don't remember that one. And Crystal is the best host. It's not even close, unless you count Nina as a host, which in that case she clears. I disagree. I think it's Emily. So let's talk about this. Okay, so this is kind of a touchy subject, especially in this community, right? Because yeah, I want to be respectful because I am respectful, as anyone should be. But here's my take on Disventure Camp needs more straight characters now. Look, I think that representation is something that matters, and it's definitely a big part of this show. And that doesn't just include sexuality; that includes religion. You had characters like Isabel, which I thought was amazing, right? I'm Christian, not Catholic, but I think it's great to see representation for that. You have representations of all kinds of races, different walks of life. It's great. It's something that I think more shows need to do. But I think that people, when we're talking about sexuality, I think it's a little overdone. Like, characters that, let me try to think of a good example. Let's use Tess, right? We know Tess is bi. Tess never gets with anyone on the show. And, because of that, I don't think we need to know that she's bi. Because, frankly, you shouldn't care. I mean, like, I see people that put... It's the same thing as putting, like, a freaking... a political flag in your... Or a political statement in your bio or something, right? Like, that's stupid. You shouldn't be defined by that, of any side I'm talking about, right? Like, anyone who puts, like, puts... Like, if I had... well, I guess not me, because I don't want to say that. But if, someone had, like, MAGA in their thing, that's stupid, right? But when someone has like a pride flag in their bio or something, I always find that kind of dumb because you are more than who you sleep with, okay? You're more than who you're into, and when that's such a big part of this animated show, I don't really like it. It's too much for me. I think that characters where it matters, we should know. For example, Gabby and Ellie, Tristan. That matters a lot for Tristan's arc. Even characters like Richard, where we never actually see Richard's partner, him being gay matters to the show with the plotline with Linda, which I thought was handled great. Some of my favorite characters are like that, like Tristan. What's another one? Ellie is one. But I just feel I looked at the season forecast. Let me look it up. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. So I have the season forecast up, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Yeah, so more than half the cast, we know that their sexuality. Well, we know all of them, which I think is dumb. We shouldn't know any of them except the ones that matter. Like, we should know, I guess, Ivy. Well, I don't even know if Ivy's straight, but we should know that, or we should know that Anastasia or Marissa is lesbian, or something like that. But like, there's no reason to know Hannah's bi. There's no reason to know so many of those things. I feel like it's too big of a priority for this show. That to the point where it kind of harms the show a little bit. Derek and Trevor were great hosts in season 1. Their love story fell kind of out of nowhere. And that does not just go with that does not just go with Derek and Trevor. That goes with Trevor and Emily as well. I don't really know how to say this right, because it's like there's people who watch my channel and people that I'm close to in real life that are part of that whole community, right? And I think that's great for them. I'm happy for them. But I just feel like it's too much on Nation. I feel like it's just too much when we know all these characters' sexualities because they are more than that. I shouldn't like Richard because he's gay. I shouldn't know he's gay until it's brought up randomly. What's a good example of this in another show? Have you ever seen The Hollow? The Hollow's on Netflix, right? That one of the main characters of that show. I'm sorry, I don't remember his name. He's gay, and we don't know that until season 2, and like deep into season 2, where it's just brought up because it matters at that point. Because another dude thinks that he's with a girl that he has a crush on, and he's like, "Dude, I'm definitely not because I'm gay." And then it's not really brought up. Now, if he was there and he had a partner, then it would be okay to bring it up. But I feel like, I don't know. I want to move on from this topic because I know it's touchy. And overall, do I think the statement Disventure Camp needs more straight characters is a good statement? No. I think that's not a good statement. I think it just needs to tone down on that kind of stuff because it's a lot. It's a lot. I'm not trying to offend anybody. I obviously, if anyone tries to call me homophobic for saying this, guys, if I was homophobic, I would not be watching this show and trying to build a community around this show. I promise you that. But yeah, I think that's pretty much how I'm gonna put my thoughts for that. I think it's great to have characters like that in your show. Heck, my favorite ship of any show ever is Luz and Amity, which are 2 girls. I just think that it doesn't need to be every part of every season, right? It just doesn't. It just doesn't. And that's just my opinion, okay? You're allowed to have your own opinion. But I've yapped too much on this topic. Let's talk about Disventure Camp is good. I don't know if that's really a hot take, especially not in the Disventure Camp community, but sure. Odd Nation shouldn't have made a completely new character for a previous season just to turn him into early boot fodder. Don't know who I'm talking about. I'm assuming you're talking about the Season 1 beta, in which case I guess you're talking about Will? I don't know. I haven't really watched the Season 1 beta, so I apologize. Geometry Dash Gamer says, Jake's narrative favoritism is blown way out of proportion by the fandom. Yes, looking back, his arc is pretty surface level, but he got called out plenty of times for his actions. Certain people just try to be a lot more understanding towards him, though the way he got treated in universe was, for the most part, perfectly reasonable until everyone took a bunch of stupid pills in the motel episode. Even then, there were multiple ways they could have vouched for him without just blindly praising him while acting like Episode 18 didn't happen. Episode 18 projected all of his worst qualities at full force while completely ignoring his perspective in the situation. Only the narrative to do a full 180 and glorify him in all of the wrong ways. Yep, the final 4 episodes of this guy did this guy absolutely dirty and gave his haters a gold mine. And it's completely insulting to people who liked him. Yeah, it did give me a gold mine. You're right. It did give me an absolute gold mine. And I'm not the best person to ask on this because, look, Jake is the worst character in all of fiction, in my opinion. I hate him. I love that I hate him. I love to hate him. I hate him and everything about him, okay? So this isn't really my area of expertise because I am blinded by rage for this character, which I'd say is about 80% justified. So then let's move on to Hannah is the best, or is by far the most overrated character in Disventure Camp. Is she, though? I feel like people didn't really like her a lot when it came to the Final 4. Not that they disliked her, just not as much. A lot of people have her ranked as one of the best characters. Do they? I bet she's a C tier. She never appealed to me as an interesting character in the middle of everything with a mid-social game, mid-strategist, except for taking out Spencer, and extremely mid in challenges. I'm going to disagree there. I think she's probably B tier, maybe A tier. But overall, I do think I'm just going to disagree with that. I definitely disagree with the fact that she had a mid-social game. If she had a mid-social game, the Hannah curse wouldn't exist. That's what got her to the Final 4, is how many friends she had. Logan and Hannah are a better ship than Anastasia and Marissa. I like the idea of Hannah being in a ship with anybody. Well, not anybody. Obviously, not like Fiore. But I do like the idea of Hannah being in a ship. But I don't like Logan. So I'm going to actually say I think I like Anastasia and Marissa's a bit more. A couple. The show is too LGBTQ goated and not straight enough. Okay, so you know what? Here we go. I just tried to drop this, but I guess we're going back in. What I mean by this is the amount of LGBTQ focus in the show Disventure Camp All-Stars 4 has. I don't know if you're talking about All-Stars and 4. Diego, Benji, Tristan, Natalia, Richard, Spencer, Hannah, Logan, Anastasia, and Marissa. I think Ivy. I have no clue. And just getting overwhelming with every character is inclusive because in that case, it just doesn't make any special. I mean, I don't want to offend people, but you know what? I do agree. Ted is not good and didn't deserve a return. I disagree with that. Another thing is how the community hates different opinions. I saw somebody say they hate Gabby and had 50 people attack or harass them over an opinion. Yeah, that's something. That's something. I just talked a bunch about the first take, which I do still agree with, but I don't really want to talk too much about that anymore. But that is something. Somebody called me a fucking Satanist for not liking Logan, okay? That is something I will say. That is one of the biggest problems with this community, is that you really, like, people will genuinely, like, personally attack you for some of the opinions you have on some of these fictional characters. Because, guys, I say, oh, I hate Jake. Jake makes my blood boil, right? But at the end of the day, Jake is still a fictional character. It's all fiction. It's not real. It's not that important in the grand scheme of life, okay? So calling somebody a Satanist, or a lot worse, which people have done, is just, it's not mature, y'all. Yeah, like, it's really, you're acting like children. You're acting like Fiore. So yeah, I definitely agree. I got two because I strongly agree with both of them. Drew is the best Disventure Camp character because he's such an original concept and shouldn't be the second Pooh. He's not the best Disventure Camp character. That has to be Rage Bait. And also, is he an original concept? Because I'm assuming you don't mean original for Disventure Camp, because it's literally the first season. And by the way, B is another character who just can't talk. From the Revenge of the Island. I get they're a little different, but no. Tringy is underdeveloped and didn't have much chemistry. Underdeveloped, I just don't think it had enough screen time, but didn't have any chemistry. Dude, these are two geeky nerds who have parents that are, at least at the bare minimum, disappointed in them. And I feel like they had a bunch. They were better off as friends. See, this is, because this is my favorite ship in the show. I do really like this ship. So I'm actually going to disagree with that, but I can kind of see it. But I love Tringy. So no, these are both true, in my opinion, no matter what others say. Yeah, no, I don't know what you're on with that first take. Logan is actually a good winner, and I think that they're the best winner out of the other three. He betrayed Allied and also won many challenges. Yeah, I don't know why I liked this originally. Yeah, no, absolutely not. Logan is the best possible winner for this proposed elimination order. From the top 8 onwards, it had to be him. No, Yule getting eliminated instead of Kai in the season because Yule is a C word. What C? You mean like the freaking synonym for a woman's private, or do you mean crap? I don't really know what you're saying. But if I don't think it should have been that. I honestly kind of want Yule to get. I said this in my season 4 or my episode 4 review of the season 2 remake. I wish Yule got out during the Maggie tiebreaker. Not the Kai one though. My hot take is that Rosa is secretly a part of the LGBTQ community. Okay. Ali is a better character than Hunter. I've already said this a few times. I think that the whole polyamorous trio is equal. Tristan is unbelievably mid. Okay. It actually makes me mad people wanted more of him. Personality is basically boiled down to, I'm nice and I don't want to make people angry. That's an amazing personality to have. I mean, I feel like this is what a lot of people need right now, which isn't going to be entertaining for 26 episodes straight. Well, Tristan wasn't in the game for 26 episodes. The people that say Tristan deserved a better placement are just OMGY. Personality and position in the game is actually the perfect reason to send him packing. If Tristan stayed, it wouldn't be nearly as entertaining as Ivy was directly after Tristan's elim. Just don't make good drama, and we're better off as Catalyst or other characters, and their story was better off explored in the motel episode rather than. I'm getting tired, y'all. I've done this for like an hour and a half now. I don't hate Tristan or their fans, but I am a firm believer that their placement was 100% deserved and perfectly written. I don't think it was deserved. I think it was good, well written. I'm not going to heart that, but I think that you're a little hard on the Tristan fans as well. But yeah, I'm going to disagree. I'm going to disagree. But the only thing I do agree with here is that I definitely think it was a perfectly written elimination, even though I didn't like that Tristan got home. So none of the season 4 casts that were selected for season 5 were deserving to compete there. I mean, why Nat and Anastasia? Why Benji? I feel like Isabel and Amelie could have worked. I noticed you didn't say Spencer here. I see the arguments for the other 3, but Spencer definitely should have made it. Hot take 2. It's RPG reality, but no debate this time. Hot take 2. The top 4 of Disventure Camp season 1 is vastly overrated. Miriam, yes. The other 3, absolutely not. Okay, so Charlie Gann. I have a bit of a story with Charlie Gann. So this person has been in a lot of my comment sections, and we've debated a lot about Logan especially. And, yeah, let's just say we're like polar opposites when it comes to our views on this show. People calling Logan a villain of season 4 are certified haters. Oh, by the way, it's like a friendly rivalry though. I love Charlie. Charlie Gann. In a you know what I mean by that. Our certified haters and have no real ground to stand on. Most of Logan's villainous actions include flip flopping, which is 100% part of the game, and blaming Zay for snitching, which only was to further himself and ultimately win. I don't think he's necessarily a villain, but I think he's if we were to not include pitting Anastasia and Marissa against each other, if we don't include that, I think Logan and Isabel are equally villains. I'll say that. That's one of my hot takes. I think outside of that vote, I think they are equally villains. Raymond, I love Raymond as well. Yule should have been the one to get out in season 2, episode 3. No, episode 4. I'm sorry, but the season already lacks antagonists. That is true. That is true. Rhea isn't even an antagonist at the start, and I'm trying to think, is there even any other antagonist outside of Yule and Rhea? No, I guess not. So, you know what? I do understand that. Although Yule literally goes home in episode 5, so there's not really going to be an antagonist until Rhea. Trenji isn't a good ship. Logan and Yule are some of the best characters, with Logan deserving his win and being part of the second best. This has been the most Trenji hate I have ever seen in my life, by the way. Logan is not a good winner, and Yule is awesome. I'll agree with that. Jake should have won All-Stars. Yeah, no. I can already see I dislike to this. Season 2 remake is actually not better than the original in terms of writing so far. How? New Maggie is good, Carol too, but James is just a gimmick. Rose is too pushy. I feel that's part of her character, by the way. And Hunter is Benji 2.0. Really? I mean, no, I don't think so. I think they're different kinds of the same. They're two sides of the same coin. Some changes are good, like the second challenge. I'm assuming you're talking about the kissing challenge. That was one of the best changes so far. And some are unnecessary, like Ali finding Tess's meds. I disagree because that helps those two bond more because they definitely have the least connection of the three. Instead of Hunter. So I'm going to disagree with this. I feel like the writing-wise is a lot better. Hot takes, I got a few. Dan is a good character, actually. I think he is a little overrated, but I think he'll be great in a second chance season. Logan isn't a terrible winner. Nope. Both Trenchi and Anarissa were better off being platonic. Anarissa? I feel like Anarissa, if that was platonic, Marissa would actually have nothing. Like, actually nothing. And then Trenji, no. Even though I think All-Stars is the worst season, it doesn't have the worst elimination order. That would be... Okay, so I've seen people say this. Season 4... Okay, here's a big hot take of mine. In my opinion, Season 4's elimination order is perfect, except for Isabel getting eliminated. I think right there, in that episode, it should have been Logan gets eliminated there, then have the exact same elimination order until... the final 3, where we would have Jade get out, then have Anastasia and Isabel in the finale, and have Isabel win. But I'd say before that elimination, and also the Zayd one, I guess, I think that it was perfect. I think the entire pre-mergers elimination order was perfect, and I think Benji, Richard, Spencer, Natalia, all that was great as well. So I'm going to say no to that. I feel like Rhea's a good character who is overhated, and Lake is overrated and boring. I wouldn't say she's boring, but she's a little overrated, and I do agree with the Rhea thing. I actually don't really like Hannah. She can be really annoying at times. I'm recognizing a lot of these people here at the bottom. And every time one of her friends gets eliminated, she has a big mental breakdown. I don't know, or I know it's because her mom, but really, you have to do that every single time. I agree. It was a little much. That's just what I brought up earlier with it feeling a little too serious. Hannah, that's probably her lowest part, or her worst part of the season, is that it gets a little repetitive how she would have an actual freaking panic attack every time one of her friends got out. Like, I understand certain ones, like, in the beginning, and also, like, Benji's, for example, but she was actually, like, tweaking a little bit near the end there. I still think she would have made a better winner than Logan, though. Alec is the worst character. Not only is he not a good husband, but he's also not a good dad. He literally admits he doesn't love his own son and became an alcoholic after season 1, and after season 3 basically abandoned his old family for Viore, and he basically had no development except his romance with Connor, which, and he's just so boring to watch. IMO, he is strategic, but in every season he was in someone else was more strategic in him. I'm assuming you're talking about Ellie and then some of the other villains. And I personally think Ren deserved to be on Fans vs. Favorites instead of him. And I disagree with that a lot. I love Alec. He's top 10 for me. And I will say, Gret, maybe I can see getting in Fans vs. Favorites, but not over him, over Tom. But I think they're using Tom for first boot fodder. But anyways, I think that his arc isn't done yet. I think that he is a terrible person. He is a horrible person, a horrible father, a horrible husband. I don't think he's an alcoholic anymore. I think he's recovering alcoholic because I don't think they'd allow him to be around Fiore as a tutor if he was. But I do think that he's definitely not the worst character. He's definitely not as bad as Jake and Logan. He's definitely not as bad as Drew, but Drew's not actually bad. He just hasn't done anything. And overall, I think that I just heavily disagree with this. And I think that his redemption arc will actually be in Season 5. I see that where he decides to become a better person. Maybe he doesn't get back with his wife, but he goes and he apologizes. And I think that would be good. It would also help him and Fiore get closer. And then I don't even care that it doesn't work like that. I still want them to I want him to adopt Fiore. Benji is the most overrated character in all of Total Drama in Disventure Camp with Ted. He's a little overrated, but not that much. It would have fit Maggie's character better if she was eliminated. Yule in the tie, or if she eliminated Yule in the tie. Yes, and it would have fit Yule's character too. Yes, and then you can say, oh, but then Yule would not really qualify as an all-star. Well, Connor was there. Maggie can be the next boot after that. Yeah, but yeah, I don't really see that. And then there could be a little bit of a rift there between Aiden and Lake. And then Odd Nation is no way in hell gonna make Allie the first boot. Allie will be an early boot, but I think Tom will be the first boot. I really do. I will be making a prediction video after we get the character profiles, or at least like the character intros or like interviews. Once we get all those, I'm gonna make a my way and also a prediction video, and I think that I will explain that more. And our final take of the night. Holy crap, my throat hurts. It is simply put, I hate Trinji. And to that I say, fuck off. No, I'm kidding. Again, that's gonna make me sound like the people who call me a Satanist. No, I don't understand the Trinji hate. I really don't. But you know what? You can hate Trinji, and I'll hate Tom Jake. So I'll allow it. All right. Holy crap! That was a behemoth, very controversial video. In terms of Disventure Camp, of course. And overall, this was wild. I don't even know how I'm gonna do the freaking thumbnail. Tristan, you and me feel the same right now, buddy. You and me feel the same way. That was a great thumbnail. But yeah, I really hope y'all enjoyed, because I absolutely loved just yapping about all my opinions. I do that a lot, not just for Disventure Camp, but for all of the stuff I do, just not on this channel, like video games and stuff. And I really can't wait to do more of these. I might be splitting some other ones into 2 parts, because I don't think all of these need to be an hour and a half long or longer. But I still think that this was really fun, and I really hope y'all enjoyed it as much as I did. And I cannot wait to catch y'all in the next one. See ya!